This video is sponsored by me. Read my original novel, Dance of Frozen Death. Link in the description. Greetings, fellow mortals. I was a bit skeptical when I had so many different people recommend Puss in Boots: The Last Wish to me. Part of me thought that they were trolling. It made me reluctant to give this film a chance at all. I mean, they were selling this movie hard. This is a spin-off from Shrek, which are good movies, but the third one is pretty bad, the fourth one was unnecessary, and the Puss in Boots prequel was just okay. Nothing special. So how is this movie supposed to be anything other than an attempt to milk the legacy of Shrek? From the outside, it looked like a fun family movie, but as soon as the story got past the intro, I was surprised by the concept of the tale. Puss in Boots is down to his last of 9 lives. After being confronted by a bounty hunter that's even more skilled in combat than him, Puss goes into hiding as a house cat until he's tracked down by Goldilocks and the 3 bears, who want him to find a map leading to the wishing star. Wanting his 8 other lives back, Puss teams up with a new friend and an old flame and puts himself into danger once more, fighting the bounty hunter, Goldie's bears, and the evil Big Jack Horner to reclaim his pseudo-immortality. Overall, the outline isn't anything mind-blowing, but that's the thing about outlines. They don't tell the full story, and Puss in Boots 2 is a masterpiece of writing, animation, and detail.
Oh, beautiful.
To start out, I would like to praise Puss in Boots' respect for its own lore. It didn't dwell on Shrek nostalgia but for a few short moments, and it did even respect the original Puss in Boots movie by including details that could have easily been forgotten. I watched this movie with my wife, who never saw the original Puss in Boots movie, but she wasn't lost at all, and she was easily able to understand Kitty Softpaw's role without a ton of exposition. Not to mention that the film explained why Puss was away from Shrek without needing to do any real explanation. There's a heavy implication that Puss was bored with a peaceful life with his friends. He craves adventure, but when he's in trouble, he doesn't want them to see him scared and vulnerable. Perfect example of how to respect lore, character development, and a tie-in to a larger universe without tossing anything away. Other franchises could learn a thing or two from this.
Oh, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
While the past is respected to perfection, the current tale is done even better. Spoiler warnings here because I want to talk about the wolf. Go watch this movie and come back if you don't know the secret about the wolf. 3, 2, 1. The wolf is death.
I don't mean it metaphorically or rhetorically or poetically or theoretically or in any other fancy way.
Puss in Boots is literally being chased by death because he doesn't appreciate his many lives. He openly says that he doesn't respect death, and death views Puss as an arrogant fool that doesn't deserve 1 life, let alone 9. He has a strong stage presence. His ability to appear from nowhere is terrifying. His whistling causes the audience's skin to crawl just as much as it does with Puss. In a franchise where a lot of the villains are comedic in some way, he is pure intimidation. I don't think there is a single joke involving death, because despite the beautiful animation and catchy music, this movie takes its message very seriously. Respect your mortality. Appreciate your life and the people in it. Never stop fighting, even if your end is inevitable. It's a potent message that I think everyone, not just children, need to hear. I think that, and because furries are very open about how they feel, are some of the reasons why death took the internet by storm. I could spend an entire video breaking down just one of his 4/3.5 scenes. I'm not sure if Puss imagined him during the fight or not. It's left up to interpretation, and that's another beautiful detail. Death doesn't appear much in the film, but there's real weight when he arrives. Even comedic characters go silent as they realize the inevitability of the force in front of them. There's no denying that Death's introduction, monologue, and fight with Puss were done to perfection, but I don't see a lot of appreciation for the other antagonists of the movie. I think they deserve to be appreciated as well. Goldilocks and the Three Bears were the funniest parts of the movie for me. As soon as they were introduced, I understood their personalities and dynamics. Their banter and antics were fantastic through the film. Let's just forget that the three bears were already used, kind of killed off, and brought back in Shrek. These variations are better anyway, and I don't think that those bears were ever named to begin with. They could just be bears from a different story. Besides, this is way better. While Death is a force of nature, Goldilocks and the Three Bears are reflections of Puss in Boots. You could literally follow the movie from their perspectives and easily cheer for them. Their morals are questionable and they claim to be a crime family, but they're not shown to be terrible or irredeemable people. They don't hurt or kill innocent people. They didn't even really hurt Mama Luna all that much, more than probably give her a headache. For the most part, they just want to steal from worse people like Jack Horner. The love and affection of the family rolls off them in waves. I love the small details of Papa and Mama Bear just letting Goldie and Baby get their bickering out of their systems. Like they've seen this millions of times already and are just waiting for them to tire themselves out. Despite their banter, the only time they ever really hurt each other's feelings is when Goldie's desire to have human parents comes to light. That was the first instant that any of the bears actually appeared bothered by Goldie's words. It's a functionally dysfunctional family that love each other no matter what. It didn't take much for my wife and I to want them to be successful, to the point that it clashed with our desire to see Puss succeed as well. In fact, my wife and I thought that Goldie's wish was going to be to become a bear to better fit in with her family. That and the slight overuse of the just right saying were my only nitpicks with their storyline. And even then, it was only a matter of taste. I just think that having the bears comfort her and say that they never thought that she didn't belong because she was a human would have been a good emotional moment. But like I said, preference, my tastes. You can make up your own minds on this one. Death, Goldie, and the Three Bears are great antagonists, but they aren't exactly villains. What do I mean by that? Well, what exactly is villainous about them? Death is only doing his job for the most part, and he has a point that Puss doesn't appreciate what he has, and the Goldie group are just as sympathetic as Puss. They aren't evil, they aren't bad, they aren't monsters, they're just the opposing force to the main protagonist. No, if you want a real villain, look at Big Jack Horner. Now, I've seen comments that Jack is a bad antagonist. He's not that deep. There's no layers to him. But that's the point. Some people aren't like onions or cake. They have no layers. They're just power-hungry monsters that will destroy everything in their paths. That's Jack. He sacrifices and murders his own soldiers to simply get one step further to his goal. And those are brutal death scenes. Despite how comedic they are, my wife asked me several times if this was actually a kid's movie. Jack's fighters are torn apart by plants, exploded by unicorn horns, thrown into a massive ravine, and dissolved into magic by the power of wish. All the while, Jack doesn't care at all. Their lives and gruesome deaths are meaningless to him. It gets to the point that even Jiminy Cricket calls Jack trash, and I appreciate the writers doing this. Sometimes people are just bad. Not every villain needs to be cool or sympathetic. You can have a plain old greedy villain and it can be great. Because, come on, you can't think of any tyrants, billionaires, mobsters, and criminals that are completely irredeemable. Sometimes people just want to sacrifice everyone and everything so they can have just a bit more. It's out there and it's prevalent. So I think that Jack Horner was a perfect balance to the mesmerizing Death and the comedic Goldie gang. They're the perfect triple threat of antagonists. Take that, other movies that can't do more than one antagonist. There are plenty of other things to praise as well. Already went over the animation and the music, which were perfect. Kitty's relationship with Puss was well executed. The various side characters were great. I will remember the Doctor and Mama Luna for a long time. The pacing was perfect. The cinematography was perfect. The possibility for sequels was excellent. How it handled fear, panic attacks, and appreciating life was top notch. And the introduction to Perrito had my wife acting like this.
I've only had Arlo for a day and a half, but if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself.
If there was one criticism I might have, it would be that I wonder why there's a map to the wishing star to begin with. Who made the map? Why does it exist? Why do you need it to make a wish? But I know that's not really important. The wishing star made the map to lure people to it and teach people lessons. I'll just go with that headcanon. They could have had a few throwaway lines in there to explain it, but this just might be me. I pay attention to the small details too much. Overall, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a masterpiece with some of the best antagonists I've seen in a long time. I think it's a good reminder to all of us to appreciate what we have and not to sacrifice what matters for something that we think that we want. It's definitely a movie that I'll be contemplating about for a long time, and it made me want more stories from the Shrek universe, which I thought was impossible, but here we are in 2023 where Puss in Boots puts every other massive franchise to shame.
Stop! He's already dead!
But what do you think? Am I completely off base here? Did you like Puss in Boots 2? Do you want more from this franchise? Which was your favorite antagonist and why was it death? Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your perspectives. And thank you so much for watching. If you like my takes on storytelling, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It would really help me out. Also, please remember that I just released my original novel, Dance of Frozen Death, book 1 in the Written in Stone series, link in the description. My second book, Above Heaven, will be released in May 2023. I hope that you will check them both out. I appreciate you. Do not despair.